we learned yesterday that in the time of the temple, they used to take the lulav on each of the 7 days of the festival of Sukkot. And that meant that they would take they might take the lulav on Shabbat. So we have a clash. Because of course on Shabbat you might, if you take the lulav, you might be undertaking all kinds of work which is forbidden on Shabbat. So we got a clash between Sukkot and Shabbat, and the Mishnah is going to analyze the dimensions of that clash. Yom Tov Harishon shel Chag shechal liot b'Shabbat. So the first day of Chag, there's an obligation even outside the temple, even outside Jerusalem, to take the lulav. Ulekachtem lachem bayom harishon. You have to take on the first day. So Yom Tov Rishon shel Chag shechal liot b'Shabbat. So the first day of the festival falls on Shabbat. And this is going to be in the temple times, when we're taking it in principle for 7 days in the temple. Kol ha'am molichin et lulavehen levet ha'knesset. So all the people bring their lulavs to the synagogue. Very, very interesting. We're hearing about the institution of a synagogue at the same time that the temple is standing. What are they going to do? L'macharat mashkimim uva'im. So the next day they rise early and they come. Kol echad ve'echad makir et shelo. So everybody recognizes their own lulav. So I wonder whether they put a mark on it. I mean, today we will put in our shul, we put a mark, we put an etrog in a box with a mark, and we put a lulav in a case, actually with a mark. Normally we mark them with our names. So anyway, it seems to be some way they must have marked these lulavim, so everybody understood whose was whose. So everyone recognizes his own. They're not law, and they take it. Mipnei she'amru ein adam yotzei yedei chavato b'yom tov rishon shel chag b'lulavo shel chavero. A person cannot fulfill his obligation on the first day of the festival with his friend's lulav. You can't use someone else's lulav on the first day of the festival. U'sha'ar yemot hechag adam yotzei yedei chavato b'lulavo shel chavero. But for the subsequent days of the festival, someone can fulfill their obligation with the lulav of a friend. So what's going on here? Well, the Rambam actually explains it, I thought, so beautifully that I wanted to bring you the text of the Rambam. In fact, I wanted to bring you the text of the Rambam. Amar Hashem Yitbarach, the Lord said, and this is called, and the Rambam very often uses this expression when he's referring to the text of the Torah. Amar Hashem Yitbarach, the Lord said. And now he's going to quote the verse that we all know, Ulekachtem lachem, by Yom HaRishon. You shall take lachem for yourselves on the first day. Uva hakabbalah lachem mi shel lachem. And the tradition comes to teach that lachem, that means for yourselves, means that which belongs to you. If he gave it as a gift, he fulfills his obligation. Even if the gift was conditional on its return. So in other words, you can say to someone, give me your lulav on the condition that I give it back to you. You can say that to someone, and you can fulfill your obligation that way. Ki ha'ikaretz leinu, because the principle we have, matana al manat l'hachzir shma matana, a gift given on condition that it's returned is called a gift. Umutar latet matana b'yom tov, and it's permitted to give a gift on a festival. So the Rambam is codifying the kind of legal fiction that we probably still carry out in many shuls today, actually. I've seen someone giving their lulav to somebody else to fulfill the mitzvah with, and it's clear that, the condition is that it's going to be given back at the end of the shaking, And yeah, the Rambam is clear. Look, a gift which is given on the basis that it's going to be given back is still a valid gift. We need to own a lulav on Sukkot in order to shake it, but someone can temporarily give us a lulav to shake on Sukkot, and we can fulfill the mitzvah that way. What if, of course, being able to transfer ownership of a lulav is not the only issue that you come onto when you're taking lulav on Shabbat. And the Mishnah continues, actually, the end of the chapter deals really, the end of the chapter focuses on the interplay between Shabbat and Sukkot. And Rabbi Yossi Omer, Yom Tov HaRishon Shel Chag Shechal Liot B'Shabbat, when the first day of the festival falls on Shabbat, V'shachach v'hotzi et halulav l'reshut harabim, and someone forgot, and he carried his lulav out in the public domain. So maybe he wants to carry it to shul, to shake it there. He wants to carry it to synagogue. Patur, he's exempt. He doesn't have to bring a sin offering. Mipnei shehotzio v'reshut, because he brought it out with permission. Maybe there's a little bit of play on words here. Reshut for permission and reshut rabim for the public domain. Seems to be that you're exempt from a sin offering if you take out your lulav on the first day of the festival. And it's very interesting. This is during the time the temple stood. Well, clearly, because we're talking about bringing a sin offering. But after the destruction, the rabbis actually did make a takana, an ordinance that people should not take lulav on Shabbat. And that is pretty much our practice today. We don't take lulav on Sukkot when on Shabbat, because the rabbis are concerned that we are going to carry in the public domain, even when it's the first day. And it's very interesting. Here's a mitzvah, d'oraita mitzvah from the Torah on the first day, and the rabbis will set it aside on Shabbat because of a fear that people will come to carry in the public domain. And some of the commentators who are particular will point out that, of course, if you've picked up your lulav to carry it in the public domain, even before you get out of your house, you probably already fulfilled the mitzvah of lulav, unless you're carrying it very carefully with the etrog upside down or in some other way. Because, of course, as soon as you pick up your lulav to carry it out, but you, in that way, you're d'oraita, at least you're fulfilling the mitzvah of lulav straight away. What about when the lulav comes back? Mekabelet isha miyad bana miyad ba'ala umachzirato lamayim b'Shabbat. A woman, or maybe a wife, a woman may receive from her son or from her husband, and she must be receiving a lulav here, and put it back in water on Shabbat. It sounds as though they used to keep the lulav sitting in a jar of water on Shabbat throughout the festival, actually, to keep it nice and wet. The first thing we learned, actually, is that a dry lulav is not kasher. And it seems as though, I mean, we're learning a little bit about household roles, but it seems as though a man might come back with his lulav and give it to his wife, and she would put it back in the water for him, even though, actually, strictly speaking, she's not obligated in the mitzvah of lulav. Rabbi Yehuda says, "B'Shabbat machzirin, b'Yom Tov mosifin, u'v'moed machlifin." Rabbi Yehuda says, on Shabbat one can put it back. That is to say, put it back in the water. On a festival, one may add, and I think he means topping up the water here, where you can top up the water. And u'v'moed, on intermediate days, machlifim, we can change the water completely. We're not going to change the water on a festival. We're just going to top it up. And finally, katan hayodeh l'nanea chayav ba lulav. As soon as a minor knows how to shake, he is obligated in the lulav.